My therapist friends, if you are primarily focused on clinical mental health, meaning the diagnosis and treatment of mental health conditions, here's something to consider. Insurance companies are increasingly turning to AI assisted therapy to replace one-on-one psychotherapy with a human, especially for mild mental health conditions. What does that mean for you? It means that you may need to adapt your skills to future-proof your career, including shifting away from the medical model and towards more growth-oriented services like coaching can be a really smart move in the age of AI. And that is what we're talking about on today's episode of Love, Happiness, and Success for Therapists. We're going to be talking about how to embrace the future of therapy by moving past the medical model, which is maybe not going to have the same kind of future that we hoped it would, even a year ago, 5 years ago. Things are changing fast, and we also need to be adaptable. So by the end of today's episode, I hope you just think about some new ideas and new perspectives that help you understand where our profession is heading and how you can be course correcting intentionally in order to set yourself up for long-term professional satisfaction and success, especially in this new world that we're now living in with the rise of AI in therapy. I think this is a big pivot point for a lot of us. And this is something that I've been thinking a lot about. If this is your first time listening, I'm Dr. Lisa Marie Bobby. I'm the founder of Growing Self Counseling and Coaching. It's a group private practice, and I've been doing this for a long time. We have, 60-ish therapists on our team doing amazing work. And because I am really responsible for the well-being of all of these clinicians who are relying on me to provide them with care and support for their professional well-being, I'm always thinking about, what is on the horizon and how can it impact us, and how can our collective pivot, in response to those things. So I've been trying to be active, in making good long-term decisions. And more, I've been talking to my, clinical supervisees, and also my colleagues about the future that I see really coming online related to therapy and the medical model and what's going to happen next. And of course, I can't predict the future. I do not have a crystal ball. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But I think that it is possible to, at least to a degree, see around corners a little bit, see the writing on the wall. And what is just emerging more and more for me is that therapists who are very tightly welded to the medical model and focusing on mental health treatment, like through insurance company payments, are going to need to make a decision. They are going to need to focus on more intensive and presenting issues that have higher levels of acuity, that are really complex enough and challenging enough that they would overwhelm of at least current AI capabilities. They really will need a one-on-one, highly qualified, highly skilled, highly trained licensed psychologist or other mental health professional in order to manage this and provide a very high level of treatment. So that is door number one, certainly, to become more specialized and more focused. And door number two, I think, involves reconsidering whether or not the medical model is a good idea for you at all, especially if you don't want to do more intensive stuff that would overwhelm the emerging competencies of AI, because what I see happening already is that the sort of easier, I don't know if any of it is easy, but the less complex, more straightforward garden variety type work, mild to moderate anxiety, depression, adjustment disorders, etc. Insurance companies see the fact that we have a supply side problem when it comes to obtain treatment through their insurance. Then there are therapists frequently that are able to provide those services. There can be waiting lists. There can be difficulty connecting with an insurance panel provider. And compared to the, balance sheet of a health insurance company, even if, like so many therapists, you have already negotiated a very low in-network rate from a health insurance company, which could be, I don't know, 70, 80, maybe in some places $90 if you're lucky, a session. That's still a lot more money paid to you than a lot of health insurance companies are actually channeling the simpler stuff to coaches rather than therapists for treatment, believe it or not. But also directing clients to, okay, well, we could connect you with a therapist in network, but first log into our app and work through this cognitive behavioral thing. And you can talk to our AI chatbot named Larry, who can help you, feel less stressed and improve your sleep. And that's through health insurance companies. Additionally, there are now so many apps, pay $7 a month to get access to something that resembles basic non-directive talk therapy. So there's that piece too, right? The robots are definitely coming for us. And I think, I've talked with some therapists who are like, oh, but it's not the same. It's a robot. It's so impersonal. It's so cold. And what I keep coming back to, like 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago at this point, I was literally the only clinician that I knew that was offering services through video conferencing, through Zoom. And I would talk to people about this and they're like, but it's like talking to a computer. What are you doing? That's crazy. And I think now in this day and age, like most services are conducted online. Even, people that I can and do see in my physical office in Denver, we look out the window together. They're like, I can see my house. It's right there. They still prefer to come and meet with me through online video sessions rather than driving, 3 miles and parking and walking up all the stairs and coming and sitting in my office with me, just because it's that much easier, right? It turns a 45-minute appointment where you log on, you log off. That's at least a 2-hour tour by the time you find your shoes, get in your car, come all the way to my office, park, walk up, walk down, go back to the car. So anyway, my point being is that I think that we can underestimate the power of new technologies and really understand how deeply they will take hold. And I think also, if we're honest, there's a part of therapy that feels just very personal. It feels very human, right? And how can AI recreate that magic, right? How could somebody feel as attached to a chatbot as they do to me? Like maybe it's a little bit offensive, isn't it? And, kids in Japan are already like trying to marry their chatbots, right? And so like there's a thing. Humans get attached to all kinds of stuff, like marrying their pillows, like having passionate love affairs with video games. And so it's just, having respect for the need that is being met, having respect for the fact that it's a lot more cheap, it's a lot more accessible than we are. And there's also going to be these economic forces pushing people towards this to a greater and greater degree. So the other piece to consider as you're thinking about where you want to focus in terms of your own professional trajectory. So there's definitely the rise of AI, and we'll talk more about this on other podcasts. But, I think that there are additionally, if you are in the back pocket of insurance companies, meaning that you are relying on health insurance for payment for your sessions, this can be a huge professional barrier if your passion and what you really like doing and what you feel that your calling is and what you feel that your ultimate service is not the diagnosis and treatment of mental health conditions. Because being tethered to insurance companies for client payments means that you are, by definition, going to be working with clients who are seeking behavioral health care, because health insurance only pays for medically necessary treatment. And again, it's fantastic if your passion is clinical mental health for psychiatric conditions. I mean, we need this. But if you like to work with clients on life transitions, personal growth, self-improvement, even grief and loss, certainly any kind of relational work, couples counseling, like for the purpose of relational improvement, premarital counseling, career exploration or career development, health insurance doesn't pay for that because people aren't coming in seeking treatment for a diagnosis. They're coming in because they would like to have better outcomes in their relationships or, help in creating clarity in their career. Some clinicians will try to thread this needle by committing low-grade insurance fraud, saying, I know that you're here for premarital counseling, and that's what we're doing. But in order to get insurance to pay for it, I have to diagnose one of you with something. So I'm going to say that you have an adjustment disorder, and this is therapy for the treatment of adjustment disorder with a partner present, and then submitting essentially a falsified insurance claim on, so that you can receive payment from an insurance company. It's not uncommon. People do it, but it's really ethically not okay. I mean, it's not even dubious. You are saying that you're providing treatment for something that isn't what you're doing. And also, I mean, the fact that if we are submitting documentation that we're providing treatment, we're providing services, we're treating diagnoses, our case notes also have to be in alignment with that. So in this session, we were talking about Mary's adjustment disorder, and that this is the purpose of our time together today. Your treatment plan needs to reflect that. And again, if that's what you're doing, that's great. Do that. But if you're not doing that, if you are talking with a couple about communication skills, and let's talk about how you each feel about setting boundaries with in-laws, I mean, premarital counseling, but you're falsifying a treatment plan, a case notes, and an insurance document, what, so there's a lot of ethical dubiousness, and I really worry about clinicians who have built their practices around this. They are relying solely on insurance because if they're going to stay ethical, it means that they are providing mental health services. They're doing behavioral health care, or they are in a position where they're, misrepresenting the work that they're doing in order to get paid because they would like to do more premarital counseling, or they feel more fulfilled by these other types of work. So it's tough. If you have broken free from the medical model and people are just paying directly for services, you can do all the premarital counseling you want. People can have premarital counseling. They can pay for it. They can benefit from it, but it takes away that ethical conundrum, certainly. There's also a very significant administrative burden if you are dealing with insurance companies. which really effectively reduces your hourly rate. I mean, consider if you are spending 1 to 2 hours on documentation and submitting, the CMS 1500 paperwork through an online system that kicks back every other one, and you have to correct it and resubmit this, and you're getting things in the mail and having to get on the phone. I mean, easily it can be 1 to 2 hours for every billable client session at the in-network rate, which is already really quite low. I mean, I've seen $60 a session, like 110. But if you divide $60 an hour by 3 hours, if that's how long it takes you to get, the check back, in terms of the work that you have to put in, I mean, that's $20 an hour. And I think sometimes for clinicians to do that math and figure out how much they're actually earning an hour, given the work that it involves, that can be another pretty significant realization and wake-up call that makes people reassess their career path. But again, I mean, if you have this mindset around, but health insurance pays the bills, like who's going to pay me to provide therapy if it isn't health insurance, you might consider just reminding yourself that pursuing a different model, like business model, can be a possibility for you. So if you have more self-pay clients, you may have less clients overall, but you also might literally be working half as many hours for the same amount of money. If you have full fee clients, you don't have to do all the paperwork. I mean, so maybe you have 10 or 15 clients a week instead of 25 or 30, but it could really be better for you, better for them. You're doing the work that you love, and, remembering that your time is valuable as well. So, there are a number of reasons for pulling away from the medical model. I do think that a lot of therapists are going to go off a cliff if AI essentially replaces them for a lot of what they've been doing. So again, path number one is specialization to increased acuity services. That's a thing. But, the other pieces of this, I think there are a lot of reasons to pivot away from being bound to insurance companies if either that's really not what you want to do, or you're doing that mild to moderate kind of basic counseling stuff. If you want to work with higher functioning clients who are focused on positive change, personal growth, better relationships, having more self-pay clients, it may behoove you to get more invested, more involved, and potentially even certified in coaching psychology, because there is a very well-established research-based system for how to do highly effective work with clients who want your help in achieving better outcomes that is not therapy at all. And at the end of the day, psychotherapy is behavioral health care. It is for the diagnosis and treatment of mental illnesses, whereas coaching is a whole different system. I mean, they're related, but they're very different. And coaching is all about helping people grow and achieve their goals. In my experience with working with healthy clients or seeking growth and goal attainment, it can often be a mistake and actually detrimental to them to provide more of a traditional therapy kind of experience, because talk therapy, again, it's not necessarily for growth and goals. It's for mental health treatment. And if somebody doesn't need that and they need to grow, and you're kind of spinning your reels wanting to talk about their parents' divorce, and they're like, yeah, but I really want this to be different in my life, you're going to feel stuck and they're going to feel stuck. And, some might think that you are practicing outside the scope of your practice when it comes to really being of service to high functioning clients who are really seeking to make changes, like active changes in their lives. I often, when I'm meeting with a new client, one of my first questions is this person needing psychotherapy, or would they benefit more from coaching? And certainly I can provide psychotherapy if that's what people want and need, but if somebody's trying to create different outcomes, coaching is usually the way, because with coaching, there's this active solution focused approach. It's really around being in the role of a process guide, helping people identify goals, outcomes, identify obstacles, and then working with them to help them learn how to do things a little bit different. Like, a golf coach could be like, don't hold it that way. Try this instead, and obviously like making space for clients to, you know, uh, ultimately be the creators of this process. But there is definitely a teaching component to coaching. Um, and clients often really benefit from this. So there are a lot of advantages to our clients from embracing coaching. Additionally, I think that there can also be advantages to us. I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like my coaching clients are a lot of fun, cute little couples coming in for premarital counseling, or really coming in with a specific thing that isn't like a psychotherapy thing. Like, I don't think I love my job anymore, but I'm feeling so torn and I don't know what to do instead. Like, that person doesn't need treatment. They need help, like getting clear, moving forward. I love doing that kind of work. So for me, it's personally very fulfilling work. I love my clients, but also certainly, being able to build a practice that is completely independent of insurance companies. I mean, coaching is not insurance isn't going to pay for that unless, it's a hired gun coach who's like working for the insurance company to talk about how to ameliorate the depressive symptoms of one of the clients who 2 years ago would have been one of your clients, but who is now being shunted to a coach to do that instead. So I also have strong feelings about coaches who do not have qualifications in psychotherapy effectively providing psychotherapy, without licensure, without that designation. We'll talk about that more on another episode of the podcast. We'll talk about PTSD coaches, and you can hear me rant get on my soapbox. But anyway, there are so many different benefits to coaching. And also, I think to, clients, especially well-informed, high-functioning clients, are increasingly understanding the differences between modalities and are really, I think, reaching out, seeking more of a personal development or improvement experience as opposed to seeking help and seeking treatment. So I think they're going to want to work with you. If you can help them in that way. So I see a very strong future for coaching that I feel really excited about. And, I'm doing growing self counseling and coaching. So I'm a licensed psychologist. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, but I am also a certified coach. And I have been for, probably over 10 years now. And because I love coaching so much, I often work with clinicians in our practice and teach them the art, the science, the psychology of coaching. A couple of years ago, decided that I'm going to develop a coach certification program through Growing Self to be able to help more therapists make this really important pivot for themselves, for their clients, for their careers. So it's something that I've been kind of mulling over for a long time, but especially now with the rise of the robots, and that I foresee things going to be increasingly difficult for clinicians who are going to stick with the medical model at kind of that mid-range level. It's going to get hard. And so it felt more and more important for me to be able to put something in front of therapists that can provide them with a roadmap forward. So to become certified as a coach, to learn how it works, to understand the differences between therapy and coaching and how to practice coaching ethically as a licensed therapist. Coaching can be very, very different from therapy. And also there are a lot of transferable skills. So it's not like you have to start from the very beginning. And my coaching program is designed for licensed therapists. So not for civilians who want to be a coach. This is only for licensed therapists, and it helps you attain the BCC credential, which is a national credential. You may have heard of like ICF. The BCC is like ICF, except for therapists only. People who do not have a master's degree in licensure in therapy cannot attain the BCC credential. So it's special and it's important. And that's why I built my coaching program around it. And I'm excited to tell you about this, introduce you to it. And if you would like to check it out, I hope you come to my website. Come to growingself.com/therapists. You'll see a link to learn more about my coaching certification program. And you, as a Love, Happiness, and Success for Therapist listener, get a promo code. Use the promo code FT, Love, Happiness, and Success for Therapists, LHSFT, as your promo code, and you'll get 10% off from me to you, because I want to make this happen. I am so passionate about therapists providing coaching. I think it's really important. Most therapists don't know how to do this. Most coaches don't have our background, and that can get sketchy in its own way. So we need to reclaim coaching as a profession, and credentialing programs, evidence-based, research-backed coaching credentialing programs like this one that are by therapists for therapists, in my opinion, are the path forward. So from me to you, I hope you check it out. Okay, that's enough for our time together today. Thank you for listening as always, and I'll be back in touch soon with another episode. All right, take care.